After about only a week of being in the soil, some of the seeds are sprouting through and have fully germinated. It's happening a lot quicker than I thought it would, but it hasn't come without its fair share of mistakes so far. The first one I made was putting all of my plant labels on popsicle sticks. I had ordered these before I had got any of my cells. I just liked the simple look of it, thought they would work well. But what I have come to realize is that the moisture in the soil combined with the humidity trapped in while the covers are on is soaking the stick from every direction, really saturating it with water, and that is causing the ink to completely smear. But I caught it in just enough time that I'm going to be able to still see what plants were in each row. I just have to redo them with a better material. So I'm using a coated paper. I was freaking out. I didn't want any of the ink to run into the soil and get all the chemicals in with the seeds, but got it out before that. The second error I have made was planting things together without having real experience to know how long it takes them to germinate. I think I said this previously, but I did read into each of the seeds, and in each container I tried to place seeds that had very similar or exact supposed sprouting times, but things are sprouting differently. So I'll have a few rows that have some strong seedlings, and some rows adjacent to it don't have any action at all yet. And then I'm confused as to whether I should be taking the cover off prematurely for those seeds that haven't sprouted yet, and if it's going to be too late for the ones that already have started. I do have some humidity vents on the top of the covers, so I'll probably play with those a little bit and see what works. Doesn't seem like that extra humidity is causing any real damage to the seedlings yet, so I'm just gonna keep a close eye on it, take notes, but overall it's looking pretty good. The third mistake I made was planting more than one seed in each cell. My thought process was that if I put more seeds in, I would have more of a guaranteed success that some would sprout, because I definitely was nervous that I would go through all of this and nothing would happen in any of the cells. That's very much so not the case. So I'm thinning each of the cells that have too many in them, and I'm going to transfer them into cells that had no seeds sprout, keeping it all organized and in the same section, working with what I have available for space. So nothing really detrimental yet, but definitely a few bumps so far. I can just already feel how crazy it's going to be the day that these get harvested, and just knowing that they started here in the apartment in March as seeds is just, it's really cool. Also, some of these containers that are closer to the window itself have a lot more humidity going. There's condensation all over the covers, whereas the farthest away container barely has any. So I think I'm going to rotate these just to make sure they're getting even light. The ones closest to the window and in the windowsill have sprouted, and the dill and chive down here are kind of starting to, so I think by rotating them, letting them all get more even sunlight, there will be better results overall. I recently came across a cool trick for your plants just to give them an added boost of vitamins and minerals when you eat bananas, and I eat a lot. I'll freeze a bunch at once, so I end up with a ton of peels at one time. You can put those peels in some water, let them sit overnight, and give some to each of your plants in the morning. This is actually the first time I'm doing it, so just going to kind of watch and see what happens, probably do it a few more times throughout the next couple of months. You'll have little tricks like this where you can put one more use into something before it ends up in your compost pile or trash. This is what it looks like. The water's kind of got a brown hue to it. I'm gonna just give it a stir and then put some in here, dilute it with a little bit of water, and try to hit all the plants in here. I'm sure you could feed it to the plants as is, but we would need a very, very large container to fit all of the water for all of the plants. Takes me roughly 45 minutes to water everything. We do use a small watering can, but gets really meditative, and I pay more attention to each of the plants when I use this. I was looking at the windowsill and noticed that the sprouts are ready to be eaten. I love microgreens. I love putting them in salads and in rolls. Today I'm going to do a rice paper roll. It smells so earthy. I'm really excited for these. They took a lot longer than I thought they were going to. I've grown these little packets before. I think the windowsill was just still a little too cold from all the weather fluctuations when I first popped them into the soil. I could let them go a little longer, but I've been really eager to eat these. Lately, I've been drinking little health mocktails towards the end of the day, just while I'm cooking dinner or relaxing in the evening. It's really quick and super refreshing. I can make it in just a few seconds. It's so good. In this drink, I add lion's mane, ginkgo, and ginger tinctures. They all have many healing properties and benefits, but with the first two, I'm most intrigued by their brain benefits, whereas with ginger, I really like the taste and it helps with digestion. And for flavor, I'll put in a splash of cherry extract. I'm eating these with just like a sesame ginger sauce. Sometimes I'll do a peanut sriracha soy sauce from scratch. It's really good. It's really bright and crisp. Really kind of the perfect thing for spring and summer snacks. There's so many flavors. Sometimes I'll add rice or quinoa or tofu in here too. But keeping it just veggies is so fresh, and I wanted the sprouts to have a chance to shine. Really missed the sound of rain and thunderstorms. Spring is here. Cheers.
It's in the name. That's not bad.
Especially just black, it's good.
Yeah. The last time I did this, I was like so young. I used to make candles with my meme all the time.
My friend Jasmine came over and we made candles this week together. It's so nice to have friends that'll just dive into projects with you and different crafting. And she said she used to make them with her grandma all the time as a little kid. So it was cool to kind of have like a nostalgic experience with her. I've done a couple rounds of candles in the past, nothing too crazy, and done a couple different methods for it, but I wanted to start sharing them through my Etsy as well. And I really enjoy burning candles. I think it adds a really nice cozy ambiance to a space, and the different fragrances can kind of affect the mood too. But there's a lot of candles out there where you just don't know what's going into them with the wax and the wick and the fragrance and so on and so forth. So I prefer to gather my own supplies. Right now I'm using a soy wax with a hemp wick coated in beeswax, and then essential oils for fragrance. I've just gotten so into this mindset of wanting to make everything I use and consume from scratch. Just that level of connectedness, and it's always a great learning experience. Just taking time to do those things reminds you to slow down in life and keeps me mindful and appreciative.
Alright.
Finally.
Now do you have a scent that you're doing?
Lavender.
Okay, that's
you
what
could
I
do a
thought.
different one if you want for yours, but I think we'll like top them with lavender and some crystals and stuff.
You squeeze it. You squeeze it from the
this
side.
yeah.
I was like,
And then it comes out. Thing for us with our setup is we'll probably get some wax melting too, because we're gonna have to fill that so many times. And oh my god, I just got super glue all over my nose. It's like, it's such a strong smell and it's just burning.
well, you got it. Like, don't rub
Do you
that
see
on
this?
your. Yeah.
got
Well,
on
you
my
have a lot.
finger.
Do you have any acid?
I'm gonna get the wax.
It's okay.
It's so slippery.
You're gonna start sticking to things.
Candle making's really fun and it can be easy, but there's a few things you have to watch for, like the wax temperature, for the melting point. You want it to go like that so that it will dry pretty much in the center.
Like these days, and a lot of people just like don't walk in.
Yeah.
There we go.
Just like the sides.
It's not really hot.
No, actually it's not bad. And also when to add the oils in so that you are not evaporating the fragrance into the air right away. So we're going to use rose, lavender, and calendula from last year's garden. And then I have a blend of some crystals we can put on top too. I like playing around with different blends on top. Like I feel like juniper and chamomile could look cool, but I just really like
I think
the different
rose
colors.
is so pretty.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And then I never cut the wicks until the very end.
Good idea.
Yes.
Are you just like setting them in?
Mm-hmm. I'm pushing them a little bit.
These ones need, or yeah, that one needs more.
I gotta tell you, we had so much fun just messing around, figuring out what worked best for a big batch and catching up. It was just such a blast. Once everything's set, you also want to let the candles cure so that the oils can distribute evenly throughout the wax. So when you're burning it, the smell is consistent throughout the candle as the wax depletes over time.
That smells so good. I can't wait to go burn it.
Me too. I had this super top heavy plant that I've had for quite some time now, and it actually started snapping on itself. So I stepped in and tried to rescue it, and it seems like it's doing pretty well. Now that I've evened out the weight, kind of brought it back to square one from where it was where I first got it. I wanted to experiment around and try to propagate some of the leaves. So I started by removing them really carefully. I actually thought there was a spider on the plant at first, maybe a daddy long leg or something, because there were all these fine hair-like things sticking out of the plant. Turns out one of the leaves had already started growing roots and had the beginning of a new baby succulent on it. So I let the leaves lay out in indirect sunlight for a few days until the wounds from where they had been removed calloused over. And when that completed, I laid out some soil, and to water them, I'll just mist on top. I don't want to risk rotting the leaves. And it's going to take some time. It can take a month or 2, and then I can gift a bunch to my friends, have some new succulents here. We have so many plants, but the more the merrier. It's getting pretty late at night and I'm so hungry right now, but I feel like it's too late to eat a full-blown meal. So I'm gonna dip into Kyle's sourdough starter and make a hot cake, which he showed me how to do a while back. I mean, he's had this starter for almost a year now, I think. He's had such a journey with it, making different types of loaves with different combinations of flours. He just started doing baguettes, and I want him to do pretzels really bad too. You have to feed it every day because it's alive, so it ends up expanding and it gets all spongy and really active. And because you do have to keep feeding it every day, oftentimes people at starters throw away a lot of it. So instead, we take that, turn it into sort of a pancake and cook it really slow on a low temperature. You can make it sweet or savory. Sometimes we'll put herbs on it. Sometimes we'll do cinnamon and dip it in honey. We dip it in olive oil when we do savory. And it's got such a unique taste. Just super fermented, delicious, filling, and I'm craving one right now. Feeding the starter is pretty simple. You add in the same amount weight-wise of bread flour and warm water, and then give it a good stir. So good. The sun's dipping behind the mountain right now with these clouds right on the horizon and a few speckled above it. I feel like it's only a matter of time until the whole sky lights up. This just feels so nice. It's really still up here tonight. Usually the wind's whipping. The lake out in the distance seems so calm too. Can't really see any ripples from up here. It's such an amazing feeling to be level with the tree line, just one with the canopy. I see birds flying by at eye level. I've been journaling a little bit, documenting things about my hikes, how many miles I'm hitting, because I want to look back on it at the end of the year and see what I've done, where I've walked, where I've gone. In just a matter of time, the buds will wake up on all of these little shrubs and big trees.
Like a great time with new moon and Taurus. Yeah. So, but we're still in Aries too. So, like I like to go by like the moon for planting.
That's so cool. I've never thought about it like that.
Oh, it's awesome.
Show me what.
If you can pick up a farmer's almanac and they'll they have a section where they'll tell you all the times to plant by the moon.
I
And
saw
it
that
makes a
this summer
huge
is going to be
difference.
really rainy.
Oh, great.
Not just like last summer.
Oh, I hope not. Ugh.
Yeah.